Hello and welcome to the Chapter by Chapter podcast. I'm Ainsley.
And I'm Kiana, and we are your two book-loving besties.
We're glad you've joined us as we turn the page and dive into this week's chapter. Welcome back! Welcome to season 2, everybody.
Oh my god, I can't believe we are now here.
I know,
Yeah.
You guys
Hi,
are now
guys.
able to see us for the first time.
Yeah, this is crazy that we are now on a screen as well as just talking into a microphone. I
know,
feel like
you
it's
guys
a
are
whole
joining
added,
us.
Yeah.
You're in the studio with us.
Yeah.
And it was something that we've been wanting to do for a while, but we really wanted to make sure we got our legs underneath us before we took on videoing.
This whole space was completely new to us for the first season, and just getting used to like filming each week and coming up with ideas to talk about books, all that sort of stuff. It was all completely new to us. So we're now taking a next step into
and bringing you guys into the equation.
Yeah. So we have to look our best as well as talk our best each week.
I know.
Can't just wear our pajamas.
I know.
Or
Which we
our
have
cozies
done definitely once or twice
all
before.
the time.
So we hope you guys enjoy. And I know this is just really exciting. And I'm excited to be back because we haven't recorded for, I think it's been
over a month now, surely.
About 5 weeks, I think. So we've got a lot of yapping to do.
Yes.
And a lot of things to catch you up on. So do you want to just give us a little bit of a sneak peek into what's been going on for you for the past 5 weeks?
Well, if you've tuned into our season 1, like before we obviously ended 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had just gone away home for my engagement party. So finally had some holidays from work, took some time off, went home for the engagement party, did lots of planning, lots of cute little aesthetic-y things for that. And other than that, just been enjoying some family time. Obviously, we've been coming together to come up with some ideas for this season. Yeah. Talk all things books. Also, like trying to decide what we want to read for the end of the year. Because
I know, it's coming up really quickly.
It is November.
It's November.
Mid-November now.
And
so
it all of a sudden starts to feel like the choice, like the chance to read all of the books that we really wanted to get to. This year is just shrinking slowly. I'm like, oh, I've only actually got like 7 weeks left of the year, you know? It's kind of a weird revelation.
Making a TBR for the month, I'm like, what do I actually want to finish the year reading? Because I feel like I've been starting so many series, and particularly like fantasy series as well. And I'm just like, hold up a minute. Like we are literally about to enter like the last month of the year. Probably shouldn't be starting five fantasy series.
Your TBR jar has had it out for you though. I feel like every month you get some variation of start a new series or some form of like pick a new fantasy or something like that. So I know it definitely is about like getting like, because I feel like last year we had a bit of a rough end to the year with reading. I feel like we both just fell flat. We felt burnt out. We weren't really reading books that we were very excited to read. So I want to do this ending differently. I feel like let's not do what we did last year.
I feel like you were going through a lot at the end of last year, because I remember I tried to do a 24-hour readathon and you were going through the wars with that.
My health was cooked.
We had a very different end of the year than we expected.
That's true. The focus wasn't really on reading, but I just was like, okay, well let's set the intention for the rest of the year so that we can like hit the ground running in 2026, which is crazy to say that we're already thinking about 2026.
I know, I'm thinking about the new releases for 2026. I'm thinking about like what we may buy after our book buying ban. I'm thinking about so many things,
we can talk about
and I'm like, what are my goals for 2026? I'm like, you've literally got like a month and a half. Just like put on the brakes for a minute. Enjoy these last couple of months.
Let's not wish away the weeks just yet. But it's so exciting. There's something so refreshing about like a new year. And I don't really believe you have to like wait until New Year's to like do these things. But there is something very, very fresh about starting a new year. So I hope you guys are excited for the season 2. We've got a lot of really fun things. We've got some things that we're going to go over today, just like letting you know what's going to probably be in store and what we're going to maybe do some adjustments to with like some reflection that we've done on season 1 as well. And we'll get some of your input as well. We'd love to over the next little while, just to see what you guys are wanting to see incorporated in this season as well. But the time off has just been really good to help recalibrate and get ourselves, like our creative juice has got to flow again. I'm just feeling motivated.
I feel like we've just had a re-spark of our podcast journey as well. I feel like a lot of the season 1 we were still trying to, you know, make it fit into our lives a little bit more. We were still trying to learn the editing process and what we can kind of get out to you guys, and also try and read at the same time. Like try and read each week while trying to like organize a podcast was a lot. Like we are busy people, we have busy lives. So I think we just like took a step back and said what would be best for us. Yeah, and for sure. Yeah, so I think going into this season, we have talked about how it's going to now be fortnightly episodes instead of weekly, just so we can like give you guys the best out of our, you know, what we're reading, what we recommend, all our
quality over quantity. And I'm not saying that because I don't think I really am proud of the season 1 that we had, but I think for to like basically get ahead of making sure we don't burn out, and that we can actually really put everything into each episode and get excited about it and not be kind of chasing our tails with how busy we are. I think we will be able to deliver so many more fun episodes, exciting episodes, and get a lot more social media content out there that's interactive and fun for you guys as well. And I think we just realized that if we have that extra little bit of time, we'll be able to do that in spades. So I hope you guys are all okay with that. Yes. I know that it does mean that you're going to get half the amount of episodes, but who knows, they might go for a little bit longer, or you know, they'll be a bit more. I'm just excited to see what we can do when we have that breathing room a little bit. It'll just suit us more, and I think in turn you'll see the like improvement, and
you'll
the
actually see, because
you'll physically be seeing us as well. So that's another learning curve, is all of this sort of stuff, but you guys don't need to worry about that. That's for us to worry about. But I think just like letting us know moving forward, it'll be fortnightly uploads. That's what I'm looking for. So going into that, we also obviously in season 1, like throughout the season of us filming, recording for you guys, we had a Fable book club as well, that we would read a book each month with you guys, picked by you guys, often over on our Bookstagram account, and we would go to Fable and read along, and then do like a recap episode dedicated to that book each month. But I think going into this season, we're not really sure what we want to do with book club yet. We're still kind of like trying to figure out what's best to kind of engage the readers, engage us. We had a lot of really great reads, don't get me wrong, but I think in terms of, it was a quarter of our content. Like annually, it is every 4th episode is a book club one, which I know some people would really benefit from, but it's really hit or miss as to whether or not everyone was actually excited for that read each month. And I think if it could be in place of potentially another really exciting episode, something that we were really keen to talk about, we were trying to weigh out whether or not we thought that the value and the excitement around those episodes was worth giving up that whole slot. And now, especially that we're dropping back to fortnightly, that's half your episodes really we would have. So we kind of want to throw it, I guess, up to you guys and the people who are, because we do see some people who frequently go and like participate. We're struggling because Fable is somewhat limited in how much we can fully interact with everybody. It's not really like an open space just to chat. So we were thinking of making one of those channels.
The Instagram chat. What are they called?
Chat channels.
Channels,
whatever they're called. So maybe just making one of those, and we can have a more informal setup. We've played around with a couple of ideas of maybe doing like a quarterly situation of maybe being able to try and tee up a catch up with people who maybe live
in-person catch up.
In-person catch up. Trying to do one of those like every couple of months, maybe just to like keep that and be able to see everyone like actually in the flesh. That would be so exciting. So I think we potentially get us, like, would love to hear your feedback of that, but I think we would get more value and more enjoyment on a regular basis out of doing it more sporadically, but having more value there.
I think there will definitely be episodes throughout this season where if a popular book that everyone's kind of reading and we read, we'll do like probably bonus episodes or a specific episode on that.
You know us, we love to yap. Like if there's something exciting that we want to dedicate it, you'll probably see. And this is the exciting bit as well about if we drop back to fortnightly, is if we want to do a bonus episode here or there to go off on a tangent of something that's exciting.
We love going on tangents.
We love a tangent. You have no idea sometimes how much I have to cut out of our episodes. So we love a good tangent. So we will every now and then, as you said, like if there's a popular book or one that we both read and absolutely just want to like tell you guys about, you'll just see one thrown in there. You'll be like, surprise, here's a new episode for you guys to go and enjoy. So it may not be in a structured sort of at the end of every month, let's deep dive into one specific book. But that's kind of the loose plan for the book club at the moment. So it will be, I guess, discontinued. We're not going to be active over there on Fable anymore, but we really appreciate all the people that joined it and were in the polls and doing all of that. We love all of that, and we're really, really appreciative.
Some of our favourite reads, I think, for this year have been our book club books that were picked by you guys as well. So we are eternally grateful for each and every one of you that have helped us, you know, pick those, read along with us, listen to our book club episodes, all those sorts of things. We are so grateful. But moving forward, we just want to
pick the ones that really, I feel like, need a deep dive, if that makes sense. And sometimes not all of those books required it.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, I guess we're just trying to make sure we're really utilising all of our time to the best that we possibly can for you guys. But I think that's all the housekeeping we have.
Housekeeping, season 2 updates, that's it. We should probably get into the nitty-gritty of what we've been reading.
Now we get to actually talk about books. So
because we are catching up as well. We haven't really talked to each other about what we've been reading. I've been away. I've had family up. We haven't had a lot of time to catch up yet.
It's crazy.
This is our now sit down catch up with you guys.
This is probably the longest we've gone not talking books for probably the entire year. So we're going to be excited about what the other person's reading just as much as you guys are probably going to be taken aback. So we haven't had a lot of chance to really talk about our feelings about some of these books. It's more just like in passing. We'll see each other like, you read that book? Okay, see ya. Talk to you later.
Like, wait, you've read that? I thought you were reading something else.
I know. It's so I feel like there's a lot to go into. So I think let's do worst to best reads that we've had over the past 1.5-ish months. It's been like, what, 6 weeks-ish? 5 weeks, 6 weeks? Enough to yap about for a long time. So, have you had any really bad reads?
I haven't had any... Or I'm just going to give you a general overview. I haven't had any bad reads. Okay. But I haven't had a lot of standout reads either. I've kind of just been in the middle. Like, I don't none of these books that I have read have been 5 stars. Okay. So I'm going to just preface that now and say, look, we're not
spoiler at the beginning.
Yeah, we don't have 5-star reads. So I am sorry to disappoint you guys there, but
I heard someone use a really great analogy, and I can't remember which creator it was. If I remember, I'll Bing mom it later. Yeah. But they said that 5-star reads are like peaks of the mountain, and if you were to have every single read as a 5-star read, it would just be a plateau. So you need the peaks and troughs to be able to appreciate the peaks.
I just feel like I'm in the limbo of
you're in second base camp the
whole week. Yeah, I'm second base plateauing because I feel like I've been sitting in the late 3-star, 4-star area. So it's not like I've been dipping to 5-star, going down to 2-star. I feel like I've just been
your peaks are looking more like mountain mold hills or whatever, mountain out of mold hills.
So other than that, I feel like that's kind of what my reading's been like. Nothing super exciting, but I have been kind of sticking more to romance-y type books. Have started a few fantasy series, but we'll get into that. But do you have a general feeling about what you've been reading? Are you in a reading slump? Are you feel like you're super motivated reading towards the end of the year? How have you been feeling?
October was great. I don't think I had a single day where I was not so excited to pick up the books that I was reading in September. Wow. At the moment, it's a little bit of come to a screeching halt. I don't know what's going on here. I haven't really been able to deep dive within myself and figure out what's going on, but I just can't get myself to sit down and read at the moment. And it is no reflection of what I'm actually reading, because I'm loving what I'm reading. There's something to do with the attention span. I'm sure the scientists predict this with TikTok. But I don't want to get into that. That's a discussion for another day. Yeah. But I had some really great standout reads, but then I've had a lot of... When I say a lot, there's only 6 or 7 books, but the majority of them are sitting around that.
That's a lot for us. We generally read probably 4 or 5 books a month. We're
medium readers over here. Yeah. This has just been I think there's been a lot of diverse books, a lot of really eclectic different genres that I haven't really dipped into. And reading a few books that were kind of a bit out of my comfort zone. So some have paid off and some haven't. But let's get into, do you want to start off with your worst?
Okay.
Well, actually, how many do you have? Because
I have 5.
Okay, well, why don't I go first so that we can back and forward it for longer? Otherwise, why don't we do that? So my worst book of the past, I guess, October, November-ish time until today was a new release, which was Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber.
Oh, yeah. I think this is probably one of the books that you may or may not have talked to me about a little bit. So I kind of know your feelings a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we're going to do a little bit of a yay or nay of do we recommend them?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not doing I haven't got a middle yes. I'm going to make myself...
Do you want to do a yes, no maybe? Or do you want to just do a yes or no?
I kind of want to do a yes or no. Okay. I feel like we need to...
Okay, we'll be harsh.
We're going to be harsh, yes or no, because time is precious and we're going to make sure that you're using it to the best that you possibly can with reading. So this was her first adult book that was still fantasy, but it was it's very short. I'm going to put it out there. It was barely 300 pages, which was interesting. And it's the start of another series. So I feel like taking into consideration, is this book really captured my attention enough to make me want to keep reading in this world?
Yeah.
I would say that this is a no from me. I don't think I would recommend this book.
Yeah.
I don't think this was a very strong introduction to the series. I don't think it was a very I just don't think it was a strong book in general. I think the characters were very juvenile, naive, and very flat. I just don't feel like I knew them, and they felt just very silly to read and very like not real people. And it was kind of like this mystery that was it's like Alice in Wonderland, but make it more gimmicky and shallow. It just felt shallow. That is like the number one word I would use to describe this, was just I never fully fell into this world. I never really bought it. And I think with Stephanie Garber, I love her ideas. I just never really end up liking the what she does with it. So this one fell flat for me. I was really ready for it to be done. I almost DNF'd it actually, just because I was like, I don't care how this ends.
Do you feel like she didn't do a good step up into adult? Did it still feel like very
there was
YA?
No difference. I think it could have easily been classified as YA. I would need someone to point out to me what made this adult, unless she's going to continue it into an adult theme, like maybe it's down the track that it's going to be adult, but that book just read exactly like the Once Upon a Broken Heart Caraval series. Same levels. So
it's not on my TBR, nor will it be on my TBR.
I did receive an early copy, so like that was nice to be able to read that. But
it's so pretty. And you got stunning. The special edition of, was it Fairy Loot special edition that you sold?
I promptly I opened it, went, that's lovely for somebody else, and sold it on Facebook Marketplace. Why is it always
the books that you absolutely like, not despise, but like
zero interest
and
in?
they're always the prettiest editions when you got the subscriptions.
I opened it and I thought, this is one of the better books that would have done this year. It was gorgeous. It was like gold and green, and it looked like kind of almost like the Wizard of Oz, like castle. Anyway, so that was a 3-star read for me. It was very
decent. I was expecting
it was
like
a
2-star.
Actually, I think on Goodreads I did do 2.75, I think, but 3-star was just
that's
easier.
very generous of you.
It's like, I can see why some people would find it fun. Like, it's kind of you never know where the story's going. It's very plot twisty and very elusive and like mysterious and whimsical. But if you're just looking for a very quick palate cleanser fun time, that would be the only reason why I would recommend it. So that's why 2.75.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. I wouldn't say my worst book is that bad. I feel like I'm kind of sitting, again, happy medium with me, but my worst book that I have read that I don't know if I'd recommend it. I feel like I'd still recommend it to you to read is Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings.
Oh, so, I'm interested to hear your more in-depth thoughts about this. Yeah, this was the one that you read while you were away. So I kind of only got final thoughts, really.
We did a little like TBR deal or no deal picking of
we should tell people about that one day.
We should. We really need to. But we kind of did like with our friend Ellie, we did a little like TBR deal or no deal type situation to pick our next read, and my next read was Time of Your Life. Could have been Babel, wasn't it? So it was a very big difference, but anyway, so I picked this up. I was reading
by Jessa Hastings.
By Jessa Hastings while I was on a holiday. I read it pretty much to and from on the plane, and that was kind of it. So lots of like a huge chunk of my time was spent reading huge parts of this book, and it's a short book. It's like 300 and like early 300 pages. Like it's not very long.
It's very thin.
But, if you know Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings, you probably know there has been a bit of discourse with her as an author, as well as with this book in particular when comparing it to the Magnolia Park series. I just found that when you first started reading, it very much did give Magnolia Parks and BJ Valentine vibes. And so it's hard to kind of just look past that when you are reading. Like, if you're just kind of like, this is Magnolia in another character in another story, and
she's got a type.
And because I know that she likes writing that character, it was fun. It was like a bingeable TV show or movie that you could watch where you're like, it's bad, but I still want to watch it. So I didn't dislike the story as such, but the characters, it's very much just like, I have kind of read about these characters before, and they're kind of irritating. Like the Isolde, however you say it, pronounce her name. She is she's less aggravating than Magnolia. Like, Magnolia is very whiny. I find her a very whiny character. She kind of like, when she's dealing with her problems, it's like over and over again, we're just hearing her, I don't know, complain or whatever it is. I found her very irritating in that aspect, but I feel like Years Old in particular, I found that she kind of like moved on very quickly. So I liked that about her. So it was different in that aspect. I feel like when she come into problems or the drama that was going on in the story, I feel like she was able to kind of just like, whatever, I don't need to worry about that, and kind of move on. So that was some positive that I took out of that, which was great. But yeah, I feel like I still want to read the second book when it does come out, just to see where she does take it.
Interesting. Okay.
But
I don't know how many are meant to be in that series.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I feel like it's probably my least recommended book of hers. Like if you're going to read anything, 100% read Magnolia Parks. If you haven't read Never, I'd probably suggest reading Never. This one, I think if you like her as an author and you like her writing, 100% would recommend you read it, because it is very Jessa Hastings.
She's going to serve up what you know.
Yeah. But if you're just like, if you've never read Jessa Hastings and you want to pick up a book of hers, I wouldn't start with this one, because I feel like you'll be irritated by her writing and her characters and the story itself. I feel like you don't really get the crux of Jessa's writing, or the best parts of Jessa's writing, I guess you could say. Like,
so it gets the key tick of approval.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't find it bad. Like there was no point in it where I was like, this is a bad book. I just found that because I've read all of her backlist now, I'd had so much to compare to. Yeah. And I was just like, this is just not my favorite.
When you've seen what she can do.
Yeah. And when you've seen like these characters in other like different, like if you've seen these characters in the Magnolia Park series and now you're kind of reading them again in the same kind of setting, like it is set in London, the band manager, which is our main character, is literally Magnolia's dad. And then you're talking about supermodels as well, which I think they relate her to like knowing Magnolia's mum.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like, yeah, it's kind of just like, okay, why are we... I feel like we could have made it like separate. Like we could have just made it
totally
separate.
Unrelated.
Yeah, don't make it in London. Make it somewhere else. But it was fun. I feel like there's so much going on in the story that there was no point where I was bored. So it just kind of moves along pretty quickly. So yeah, it was,
So would you rate it?
I rated it a 3.75.
That's pretty high, honestly.
Think. Yeah. I think it was the 3.75. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Anyway, so nothing, not terrible, but not a great.
Yeah, just one of those I get. Mid, very middle. Yeah. The next book that I think of going from worst to best is I read Artificial Wisdom by Thomas R. Weaver, which is a techno thriller mystery. I think it's 3. I don't know how many genres a book can be in, but it's in a lot. And this is a book about, I think I've talked about it maybe at the start of the year or start of the podcast. It is a book that is set in 2050 where the climate crisis has like gone to shit, and the whole world decides that they need to run an election to decide on a global dictator to kind of make the rules for everybody to kind of get this shit back on track so that everyone on planet Earth doesn't die. And already there are people who are just like, millions of people are getting wiped out by like catastrophic tsunamis and all this stuff all the time. So people, you can already see people are living in constant air conditioning because you would die of heat stroke if you go outside. Like it's pretty intense.
Yeah, wow.
And one of the candidates that is actually being put forward is a semi-newly developed technological AI president. Yeah. So it's kind of having a look at like, do we sometimes need a third party, non-emotionally attached being to make decisions for us because we clearly can't do it ourselves? Yeah. And they don't really have like a skin in the game because they are AI. And how far can AI really like make decisions for humans and make sure that they're still doing the right thing by everyone? So great concept, super interesting concept. Had my eye on it for a really long time because it got traditionally published or republished, should I say, in August. August, September. Anyway, this one I didn't enjoy as much as I thought I was going to like it. I
feel like this was a slog for you.
This was a slog. Yeah, it was a really interesting pivot from the start being super like, wow, okay, we're thrown into how bad everything is, and selection is literally happening in the first chapter in terms of like everything is like breaking news, and then it goes into this borderline like slow, cozy whodunit mystery where you're just following the journalist, the investigative journalist. Yeah, right. Who I found pretty bland, pretty boring. His skin in the game is that his wife died from one of these suspicious climate crisis events. Yeah. So that's where he's coming from and why he's so passionate about it. And I was way more interested in the the election element of it, of the
Yeah.
AI side of it, this focused quite a lot on like what technology will look like, which was cool. Like I do think that this definitely could be in our future, just like the way that they use like virtual reality and stuff to communicate, and people don't really like go to meetings anymore. You just kind of put on a headset or take a tablet and it helps you just like basically meet someone in like virtual reality.
Right.
So it's all really cool, and I liked all the speculation on like what things are going to look like, but I just found that instead of like more around, and also if you've watched any robot movie ever, I think it's like it was very predictable. I knew from literally like the I don't know 1/5 of the way through where this was kind of going, and the ending was extremely rushed. I did find out that there's a second book that is being written, so that explained a bit more, because I went, what on earth was that ending? But I think for me, I just found it boring. There was a lot of just like, I hate when a character is so dumb, especially in a mystery. This is why I don't read thrillers, because I hate dumb characters. Where he is so blinded by what is directly in front of him that he's not asking the very obvious questions that I'm like, just would that not be natural to assume 1 + 1 = 2? So there was just some things in it that I was like, this is really like excruciatingly painful to get to conclusions. So yeah, I think I liked what it was trying to do. I just didn't like how they told the story.
I remember when you were reading this and you were kind of like, I feel like every day I'd be like, how's your reading going? And you're like, I so want to just give up on this book. You're like, I am so close to DNFing. And I think you got to the point where you kind of told me you're going to, but then the next time I asked you, you were still reading it. And you're like, I'm audio. At 60%. I'm just going to keep going. And I'm like, wow, she's really committed.
I wanted to know if my hunches were right. And in some ways they were, in some ways they there was plot twists. But God, like, I don't know if you've ever watched like when you're homesick as a kid and you'd watch like daytime TV with like a mystery.
Bold the Beautiful.
It's like a murder mystery, and you're going, this just that's what it felt like. It almost felt too cozy for how techno forward it was, and how futuristic and how high stakes this was all supposed to be. It just felt I was wanting to focus on different things, which maybe is my problem. Like maybe the book, if you were going into it for that exact reason, maybe it was a 5-star book, because this has glowing reviews. So yeah, that was a bit out of my comfort zone, and I don't want to say it burned me, but it wasn't exactly endorsing.
So I'm going to say you don't recommend this?
I'm going to say yes, only because I think there is some really cool elements to it that I think if you are interested in what the future could look like, if you are someone who likes a mystery, I'm also just not really a thriller reader, so this was going out of my way to try something different. I actually will say yes to this one. Because I just found the characters a little bit flat. But if you can kind of go, okay, that's just, they're the person telling the story, but I'm just more interested in what's going on, I can see how this would really work for some people. But it also just felt like reading the current news. That was also a little bit of a downer.
Like this is kind of happening in real life at the moment.
Truly. It really was like just switching from, whatever social media you're watching, and then just reading my book was the same. It was a bit weird. So that is also something to take into consideration. It doesn't exactly give for a very uplifting feeling.
Yeah, like, wow, just what I want to read before I go to bed.
Doomsday. Ding, 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 ding. We're all doomed. So yeah, that one 3.5 stars.
I've seen this film before.
Oh man, oh no, I'm currently living this film. And I don't like the ending.
And we don't live in America. So anyway.
Oh God. Anyway, so that was one of my books.
Okay. So still recommend though. That's a good...
I do recommend it because there are a lot of people who love it. So I think it was more me and the book just weren't on the same page.
Yeah, fair. Okay, going to my second... It feels so bad saying worse because none of my books are like, they're not bad.
Okay, we'll go it's more enjoyment level.
Enjoyment level second last was a highly anticipated read for 2026 that it was going to be for me. But my partner, my fiance, so kindly bought this for me in the bookshop that I was actually was literally the first book listed on my books to buy after my ban. And he did these all deduction skills of like going on Goodreads, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he bought me a book, and it was Diebound by Sable Sorensen, I think her name is. Yeah. Which just got trad published a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago.
I think so. Oh, actually, I don't even know if it's officially out. Trad published, is it?
Yeah.
It is out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. Ignore me. Maybe it's a special edition I've seen going around that people are getting early copies of. Anywho.
I think I don't know if it was ever like physically indie published. I know people read it on their Kindle, but I don't recall anyone actually.
Yeah, that's true actually. I don't know if we did have.
Yeah. Anyway, so within this story, we're kind of following our female main character who is living kind of, you know, the typical living in poverty. There's kind of the rich people,
I'm just
the
a
poor
meager
people.
18-year-old girl.
But what's happening in her town is all these young kids or children are going missing. So like throughout the night, like a kid will get stolen and they'll never come back, and they don't really know where.
Sounds like
going.
a horror movie.
They think like the king is there's like these entities that kind of live on the other side of the land. Can't remember what their names were. Starts with S, but I can't remember. And they think they're the ones coming to steal these kids.
Kidnappers.
And like they're kind of like vampires where they're like sucking the life out of them and whatnot.
Lovely.
Anyway, so our female main character is she's angry because she feels like the king isn't like doing anything to stop these kids from being stolen. So what happens is her sister obviously gets taken, and she decides that the only way to figure out what's going on with these kids and how they're going missing is to train, like infiltrate and train to become like one of these bonded like where you bond to a direwolf. And so there's like the elite like not army for the kingdom, but they're pretty much like these people that have
like
this
a
like
guard
connection
almost or
to
something?
Sort of, and they
Okay.
have like a connection to these. They fight to like get a connection to these direwolves, and
This is sounding like Avatar, like where they bond with that flying bird pterodactyl thing in the movies, where they have to like,
sort of actually,
they
but
have
it's
to like fight for the big one.
but
and you
it's
have to,
kind of also
prove
like
yourself.
Fourth Wing, where you kind of like bond with your dragon as well. Like it's been compared to Fourth Wing in that way. But I think when she like signs up to become part of the army, it's not like every year that they bond to try and get these direwolves.
Oh, okay.
But this particular year, everyone's like fighting to compete to bond to a direwolf, because you're essentially like the top of the ranks of like the army for the king.
That'd be lovely.
Anyway, so yeah, she's kind of like infiltrating the academy, going into it being like, I have to become like bonded so that I can get to the front and then like figure out how I can, you know, find out how these children are going missing and find my sister is pretty much what we're following along. That
really is the crux of so many romantic
Yeah,
plots. Hey, my sister's missing. I need to go save my sister.
And we're going through like the trials of them competing to become bonded. People are dying, like very much Fourth Wing, very much powerless. Like it does kind of reminisce into those like stories. I really did like the idea of the bonding with the wolves. So I feel like that was different. I haven't really like read much of. I don't know if that's a whole other like genre category that we just don't ever dive into. Let's not go there. So I really liked that aspect of it, and but yeah, I think the one thing I didn't love about this is if I'm reading a fantasy series and I'm reading and I'm not super connected to the characters and I'm not super connected to the story, like if I'm not obsessing over one or the other, it is a very mid book for me. And that's kind of what happened here. Like I didn't dislike it. Like every time I was reading this, I was like wanting to pick it up and continue and like find out what's going to happen. Like anything with trials in it, I generally like.
They move things along.
Yeah. So it was like pretty quick moving story. The romance in this, I'm not going to say much because I feel like it's kind of a spoiler, but it really annoyed me. The one thing I will say though is if I never hear the word kitten used as like a pet name again, I will be so happy.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
They're dogs. That's not even the right animal. Like
this is between the human people, but
no, but I mean like even like I'd go like pup or something. I'd go okay maybe, but kitten.
Yeah, it comes up pretty quickly in the story, and I just every time I kind of just like read it, but like tried not to let it sink into my brain because I'm like, this is giving me major ick. And like when when you're reading about male main characters that are meant to be like, you know, tall, dark, handsome, strong, muscly men, and you're just like kitten, it just kind of like takes you out of it.
It sounds ridiculous.
So so I was thoroughly disappointed with how much I didn't like obsess over this story. I don't know if I just put too high expectations on myself.
It was gassed up like it was the next Fourth Wing. I feel like everyone was kind of like, and that is the phases of obviously TikTok and book talk, but books do really gain this insane traction, and then you see nothing but brilliance, and then once people have all had a chance to read it, then you start to see some of the more nuanced conversations come through. But I don't think we've really had that with Diebound yet.
No, I feel like the ratings for this are still really high on Goodreads, and a lot of like people that I follow and that I trust their reviews on have really enjoyed this.
They let you down.
So I don't know if I've just missed the connection to either the characters or the story. Like there's something that I just didn't get out of it that other people did. I'm not really sure what happened, because it is kind of like a love triangle, not even a love triangle yet situation.
Interesting.
So I generally froth over those as well. But we do have like a stronger love interest to start with, and then another one that kind of comes along. But
as they
again,
do.
I don't want to spoil any of the
fun
things of the story, I suppose. But I would still recommend this to people. I could see so many people still absolutely loving and adoring this. If you're new to fantasy, I feel like you would probably love this more so than someone that's probably reading a lot of fantasy romance or romantic. It's definitely in the romantasy category, I would say, more
heavy
so
on the romance.
Yeah, definitely. So I still recommend you pick it up. It's not a bad book. Again.
Do you think I would like it?
That is a good question, because sometimes I'm very wrong with what you like, and so
I feel like 90 or 85% of the time you're right, and then there's this 15% where it's like the polar opposite.
But I feel like mainly that's with romance. I feel like for this fantasy, because it's romantasy and knowing you and your situation with romantasy this year, I don't think you would love it. I feel like if you'd taken a break from fantasy for a while, like particularly like high fantasy or like dark academic, like, you know, where there's like meaning behind things, and you're just wanting a fantasy that's like
just like a fun one.
I feel like you would probably like it, but I don't think it will be one that you obsess over.
Well, it sounds like there's nothing that's going to like anger me, like frustrate me, or go like, this is ridiculous. So
I wasn't like annoyed with it. Like, you know how some of the female main characters, like if they're annoying or they're just like whiny or they're not trying to like you're not seeing any like character development throughout the story. I feel like that can be very insufferable quite quickly.
Or they're like 17 and somehow just like the most proficient person at everything ever, and you're like, oh, okay, then this is just not even a little bit.
We do get we get a little bit of that.
That's all right. Don't think too deep.
Yeah.
I was like, don't ruin
I feel like we get a lot of like other people helping, like kind of like Fourth Wing vibe, where you're like, I'll train you and I'll help you do this. Or there's definitely a bit of like a found family vibe going on, where there's characters in there that they are helping each other. So that's really fun. I really liked that. But yeah, I don't know if I want to read book 2.
Okay, it hasn't won you over to get to book 2.
Yeah. But I still highly recommend. I think it's a fun time, but just not one that's like memorable for me. I think
it'll just fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
This next one I thought I was going to love. I thought it was going to be a 5-star read, and I hate to go into a book feeling like that, but the way that I feel like people were talking
I don't
have
any idea.
And when I pulled it on my TBR jar, I think the number one comment was people going, "We can't wait for you to read The X-Files" by Jessica Joyce. And
have I heard you say anything about this book? I
maybe
did. I lie.
Maybe.
I've heard like one comment where it was very like, we can talk about it anyway. I'll let you talk about your own reading experience.
And I want to say that I didn't hate this book. I just think maybe I definitely went in thinking this was going to be life-changing, the way that I probably went into like Out on a Limb, you know, where it's like got high expectations and then it meets it. This is kind of what I went into thinking, that X-Files is going to be this other like put it on a pedestal of some of my favorites, and that's not how I felt about this book. I nearly DNF'd it at 30%.
Wow.
But I'm glad I stuck it out. I do think it is actually not a bad book, and I can really understand why people like it. It is a second chance romance between two people who are part of like a trio best friendship, and the reason why they're still sort of in each other's orbit is because they love this little trio that they have found within each other, because two of them don't really come from that close of families, so that really is their family, is this trio that they have. And when you meet them when they're younger, a lot of the time they spend all this time at this third party, this guy called Adam. Let's just call it, his name actually is Adam. I don't have to make up a fake name. He is fake. And we have Adam, who has kind of like welcomed these two in who don't have great home lives. And so they kind of find each other, but also find Adam. And so for them, when they do eventually, obviously it's a second chance, they break up, shocker. They don't want to ruin that. So they kind of just have these set rules, I suppose, on how to operate and to keep things still happy and jovial and not make it awkward to the point that they can't spend time together anymore.
Forced proximity.
And it's all centered around Adam's wedding, and they are going to help because they're both kind of like the best man woman to Adam.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of put in charge of helping fix the wedding that is going to shit. Everything is going wrong, and they are in charge of kind of getting everything back on track and trying to help him because he's stressing out. And there were some highlights to this. One thing I will say is I don't think I love Jessica Joyce's writing. It never really won me over. It never really made me fully immersed into it. I just feel like I was waiting to really fall in love with the story or the characters, and that just never happened.
That's unusual because I haven't read any of Jessica Joyce's writing, but picturing it before going in, I would say based on that storyline, it would feel very Emily Henry writing vibes.
Not at all. It's much more... I hate using the word millennial as a derogatory word because I'm not trying to say that it feels like aged, but TikTok is mentioned and we have like these quotes thrown in there like, you know, I'm fated mates with this city, and like these weird kind of like phrases that she was using that feel very forced to be like relevant. Yeah. And so it kind of kept taking me out of the story because they don't happen a lot, but when they do, I'm like, that is jarring. And I found our main characters just quite forgettable. I found our male main character kind of just like, he was there. He did something really nice at the end, which is probably one of the most romantic things I've ever read about. But I'm like, did that make up for a whole story of just feeling a little bit
lackluster?
Little bit I just kind of was just, and also the fact that the entire wedding, like, of course I have to suspend disbelief, and I know sometimes I become the negative Nelly about some of these things.
I love how you look at me.
Like, I know she's like, gonna be like, chill out, it's fiction. But man, the whole premise being that these two are the only two people who can fix this wedding because Adam's stressed. What a ridiculous pressure to put on. That's like if you and your engagement party just went, I can't deal with it, Ainsley, just fix it.
Does he not have parents? Do they have parents? Do they have...
I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure there are parents in the picture in some portion.
Weird.
Yeah, they are. And yeah, it's just they go, no, I need you to do it. And he's just, I just go, that is an insane pressure to put on two people. And he's naggy about it too. So I didn't really like him as a character.
He's not a people pleaser.
He's not a people pleaser, but that's the whole point of our main character. I'm going to refer to my notes. I still don't even have her name down. That's how memorable she was. She's a chronic people pleaser to the point that she cannot say no, even when, as the reader, I was getting, there were some people who definitely probably could relate to her, but I found it so excruciatingly people pleaser where I'm like, it would almost be crazy to be agreeing to this at this point. So it did grow on me a little bit towards the end, and I do think there were some relatable things about the FMC, like of this feeling of like, what happens when all your friends, like your friendship groups, start drifting apart and they find other friends and not feeling needed necessarily. And so like some of those things I was like, oh, okay, I can see where why she is the way she is, but I don't really feel much when I think back on this book. I don't feel like the romance, I didn't feel connected to their bit. I don't feel like we got to meet them and understand them nearly enough, whereas I was more learning about them just as present day people. Kind of going like, oh, okay, yeah, they made sense why they broke up. I would have broken up with him too. And like the both of them. But yeah, when they were getting together, I was just like, yeah, I guess it's fun, but very forgettable for me.
I feel like you haven't had a lot of bad romance reads this year either when you've been reading romance. I feel like a lot of them you connect really well. You love the characters. You love the banter often between the characters. And
I love Second Chance. Yeah. So I was really thinking this was just going to be like tick, tick, tick.
It's missing the small town cowboy romance.
It's missing something. Yeah. And it was definitely, there was a secret sauce missing in this because I was like, I get why they broke up. I understand why they want to get back together. I'm happy with these things. I just don't give a hell. I was going to say something there. I don't know if I can say that now that we're on YouTube.
I don't know. Anyway.
I don't give a hoot if you guys get back together. Like, I'm happy you are, but I don't really care.
Do you think you'll read another Jessica Joyce to give her another chance, or do you think for now you're just gonna put it back on the... Because do you have the second? No,
I don't. You With a View, I think, is her other popular one. Yeah. I think unless someone literally said, let's buddy read this right now, I would... There's so many other books that I would go to before I would go to her writing again. It's not bad. It's just... It's very like... I'm going to explain everything to you and I'm not going to leave anything to you to deduct for yourself. It's like, of course I can't accept their help because my dad abandoned me, and that'd be why I don't like accepting help. And I'm like going, okay, we're getting a whole psychology class. Like, I can deduct that, you know, like
just
deduce
let me
that for myself. I can infer a lot of this, but you keep spelling it out for me. Not my favorite story.
So do you recommend it for people?
If you are a reader like me, I would say no. But I'm gonna have to sit with no, just because I think there are better romance books out there. Of course we can always say that we can see the other people point of view of why people like it. Yes, there are going to be plenty of people out there who like it. It's a popular book. I don't think personally it is like worth it.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
I think there's better second chance romances you could go to.
Okay.
That's probably very controversial. I'm sorry. I know that's probably hurting a lot of people's feelings because people are really excited. I haven't
read it yet. It was on my TBR. I think
you will like it more than I will.
Okay.
I think there are moments of it that I think you'll be able to maybe connect more to it or appreciate, because I think there are subtle things in like main characters that we stand out differently. So
I'm a people pleaser, so I probably will.
Whereas
relate.
I'm not.
No,
really.
You're not.
Only in very niche situations. So I'm more of like a just talk, and I hate when characters won't talk for the entire book.
I do hate that. Miscommunication or
those,
just like you just need to have a conversation and they won't when it's so simple.
This is like
it's really
on-page refusal. Like we are not having that conversation for the whole book. Basically, and it was doing my effing head in. Anywho, so I'm going to say
bigger and better things.
Yeah, let's go up the ratings.
Yeah,
I rated that a 3.25, by the way.
Okay, yeah, again generous, but my next read was one that I've been meaning to read for so long.
I mean, this has been on what, like 4 TBRs, 5, like half the year.
Half
this has
my
been
year's
on
worth of TBRs, I think. Yeah. And it is To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah Parker.
Whoop, whoop.
And we absolutely love her. We've read one book by her and we're like, she's like our top author.
I actually got this book yesterday in the mail.
You did actually. But I think you were going to hold me down and be like, if you do not read this book this month, I'm going to come for you.
If I was a good enough editor, I'm pretty sure I said exactly that on a podcast. I was like, I will force you to read that book if it's the last thing I do this year.
I'll sit you down in your...
I'll audio narrate it for you. I'll read it to you.
I'll make a 24-hour readathon, so you have to read this.
Come over in my pajamas and read it to you before bed. Anywho, how did you enjoy it?
I liked this, but I feel like a lot of the problem with this book was me. I think I don't know if I just read it not at the right time, and I feel like I'm having this issue with fantasy books where I'm not giving them a lot of grace for the first book in a series. I feel like with TikTok and with how quick things are turning around and kind of what type of content is being produced in a lot of these new fantasy romancy type books that we're getting, I feel like I just like forget to appreciate that this is an entire series and that...
Is it completed?
I think it is. Yeah. I think it is completed. Or there's one more book. I don't know because they're in the process of being trad published. Yeah. So I don't know where we're at with the series. But I feel like I am forgetting that we're not going to get everything in
book one.
And I need to like, every time I'm reading a fantasy book, just sit back and be like, this is how it's done. And like a lot of my favorite fantasy series, this is how it's done. It's not like you get, the romance in the first book and you get like all the ins and outs of the world building in the first book. I feel like I just need to sit back and remember that that's how great fantasy series kind of work.
I think we've done a lot of standalones in the past like year or so. So I feel like we're so used to a completed full circle story finishing up. Yeah. So it's like frustrating when you feel like you've been given crumbs in the first book. And you have to work for it.
And like when I was like reflecting on how I felt about reading this story, it was like our female main character is an unreliable narrator because she is kind of like she's like I should probably just give you a synopsis of the story, but anyway, we have our female main character, Olaith, her name is, and she pretty much like straight off the bat survived a massacre when she was like 2 years old.
That'll do some damage to the psyche.
This like I don't know if he's a king, but he's like runs this like castle place and he like saves her when she's like 2 years old, and pretty much she kind of it's a Rapunzel dark fantasy romance Rapunzel retelling.
Please don't say he is the love interest. That sounds like grooming.
Wait,
sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
There's a lot of we'll get to that.
Oh boy,
there's a lot to this book. When I was looking at reviews, I was like, anyway, let's
taboo.
There is a lot of taboo topics in this one, but anyway, so she gets saved by him at the start of the book, and she pretty much grows up in this castle, but she lives in like a tower, and she's kind of like Rapunzel. She lives in a tower. It's like she can roam around the place as much as she wants, but she has this like in her mind like a safety line, whereas if she goes outside of that, all these bad creatures are going to come and take her and kill her. And so
God
she
damn.
stays within that line because that's all she knows.
Yeah.
Because she's grown up in this place. But pretty much what happens is the guy that saved her, that's like the main dude in this kingdom thing, he doesn't really like see her throughout the entire life. And we go to like 19 years later and they're essentially kind of meeting for like the first time in this place.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not like child grooming as such, if that's what you're
I
going
was going to say
But
that.
it is questionable because you're kind of just like, wait, he saved her when she's two.
How old is this dude?
I don't know, because I think he's like I don't.
Oh, is he immortal?
Yeah, I think he's like a more. I don't know if we've got much about him. He's very like dark and mysterious.
Okay.
Like I don't know much about him. I don't know if he's aged or
Yeah,
not.
there's something like I feel like you'd go, is this okay? Like, are we all good about
I know to start with, but I feel like when you look back on it, you like, and someone kind of, because because what happens is she has an attachment to him where she's like, I don't know how much I can say. It's so like, I feel like
how do I not make this sound like I'm reading?
Yeah, how do I not make
Child
this
trafficking.
sound gross? Because I remember messaging you and like the whole
I remember the things you
and
told
I
me
was
about.
just like, but when I'm sitting back and I was like reading a few reviews and I was going back through the story, I was like, wait, I feel like I misinterpreted this entire story because I feel like a huge crux of the story was focused on her attachment to this guy. And pretty much the attachment is her
Is this
having...
spoilery or no?
I don't think it's like...
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Like on the back of the book, it literally says like she's fallen in love with the captain, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I feel like the attachment to the mailman character that we have is super... Like when you look at it like front on when you're first reading it, super unhealthy. And it's kind of weird. And I was like a bit tripped out by that. That I
it's
feel
meant
like
to be unhealthy though.
It is, but I can't really say how unhealthy it is without kind of giving away a bit of the story. So that anyway, I just didn't recognize all the extra going around it. Like you're meeting other characters, you're getting little tidbits of like things because she's kind of learning that everything she thought she knew is completely wrong. Like she's kind of been sheltered for so long in her life that she's slowly from other people have been lying to her.
I'm just picturing Tangled.
It's kind of like that's a little
like
bit
a dark version.
That is like Rapunzel. So but so she's kind of like finding out that people have been lying to her. She doesn't know who she is, like why she's there is kind of not what she thought. So we're only getting like a slight bit of like what the full story will be. So when I like people have said, like people that have actually read the entire series and have come back and have written a review like after a second reread have said this feels like a very much like a prologue to the entire series. And I would say definitely read your trigger warnings for this one because there's a lot of like triggers in this series. I don't know if there's more as the series goes on, but there is a lot of things that I think you probably want to know about before you go in as well. I still think it's a recommend, yes, because reading other people's reviews and things, I feel like I probably misinterpreted a lot of the story because I was so shocked by the romantic attachment that was going on. So I rated this a 3.75, 3.5. So I still like it's not a top read for me, but I think it was me. Like I'm the problem in this situation.
I feel like when you were updating me like the few little times, it was kind of either just the most out of pocket wild shit that you like that like it would be a spoiler, so I won't say it. So I feel like I kind of have an idea of what you're talking about with this attachment to the mailman character. But
like I'm getting scarred.
I know. I'm like don't think too hard. Don't think too hard. But I don't think I ever felt that you were wowed, I guess, or like that you were going like I'm loving this. It was kind of like I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I'm confused. And then I feel like there was never a moment of like, okay, wow, I see what this story is doing.
So I'm just like, I am giving it grace and I am going to read book 2.
That's very exciting. That's very exciting. I will be going through that at some point. I don't know when, but I will be going through that as well. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, my next one. We're getting into like good territory here now.
We are, yes.
Is I read a dark academic fantasy, which was an advanced reader copy for the second book to Immortal Dark.
Oh, you did too? Yeah.
I did too. It took me a hot minute to get through this. It's a chunky book. And this was Eternal Ruin. And I didn't rate it for a very long time. I actually rated it to do this.
You kind of like, I remember with Immortal Dark, you were like, what happened? I feel like so much happened. I don't even... Like when you went into book 2, you were kind of just
I did a lot of Googling, a lot of flicking back through my book, a lot of watching recaps because there are a lot of names, laws, world buildings, like intricacies that make a lot of difference. And when they're referencing it, I was very confused. Also, Immortal Dark was a year and a bit ago at this point?
Probably a year and a half.
So,
nearly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm giving myself some grace that like for how detailed this world is, I wasn't really expecting myself to remember everything. But this was a really solid next installment. And this is her debut series, so I feel like I'm also just like flowers to the fact that it's such an interesting world that she's built. And I feel like it's really well thought out. There are so many laws and so many foreshadowing elements and bits and pieces that you can tell she's really laying out the groundwork for a really solid world that makes sense and that everything like is grounded in something, and it's not just kind of like convenient magic and laws for the sake of it.
Like it all, the fact that it's a debut fantasy author who makes sense with world building is a huge feat. I feel like, because now we're like experienced readers too, we're looking for things to like make sure all the like things connect and that. So I feel like it's a big thing for, like, I know we thought even in Immortal Dark, she did such an impeccable job at the intricacies of like the world building of that.
And the dynamic between all the characters. Like, I don't think this is a like romance forward story at all. So like there is definitely an interesting dynamic going on between the two main characters, but I think it's really great that this actually really focuses on the plot of it all and the secret society of it all. And that doesn't really change in the second book. Like, there is a little bit more emphasis on what's going on between our two main characters, but this whole society is gunning on people not being able to trust each other, and you as the reader don't know who to trust either. And
I love that too, when you're questioning like who you should be like.
And it's not even like who's lying, it's also that people are all having to do things with their own agendas to survive or to gain power or to gain influence. And so it's like, even if someone is a really great friend, they may still do something that benefits them. So like there are just betrayals and things that are going on that you feel like, hang on, and I trusted you.
That's where I feel like we're getting into that dark territory where you're not afraid to make those decisions, because I feel like it's like,
she doesn't care about killing characters in like fairly sinister ways.
Well, you just think back to book one and like
people go to dark places mentally as well, so do check your trigger warnings with this one, because the characters do sit in like quite a dark space for a lot of it. And there's a few themes going on there, but we get more point of views in this second book, which I really liked and appreciated. And there were unexpected point of views as well. And so I think that the first like 20 to 25% was great, and I think that the last 30% was immaculate. Like, it was just so incredible. There was some lull in the middle for me that I felt, it was like, I don't know how to explain it other than it felt like I was getting like microdosed little bits of things that I feel like we could have probably like mushed a few scenes together to get what she was trying to get across. But I feel like I was reading a whole chapter to find one little nugget, and then reading a whole chapter for one more nugget.
Do you think it was just like inexperience as like a fantasy writer? Like, it just she doesn't have that, I guess, ability to kind of condense it to what
little
like
moments
seasoned
like
writers I suppose do with fantasy series, but she's done such an incredible job despite that.
Truly. I think that was probably my main critique, was there was a bit of a slog I felt from like 30 to like 50%, where it's not boring, but I was feeling like, where are we going with this, or what, we're not covering much ground.
Like, you still need little plot twists and little things that you'd learn,
and things are slowly happening that I needed for me to engage. And I don't know if it's like, I don't want to call it second book syndrome, because I do think she really introduced a lot going on, and she really made the roots of the world even more deep, and like, you're learning so much more history and lore from how even the things we learned in book one, how did they even come to be. So I feel like she's fleshing it out. It's just sometimes not done in the most engaging way. And I find our characters fascinating, but I don't think I'm like in love with like, or obsessed with the characters.
Do you feel less obsessed than you did like in book one? Because I know like book one we were pretty, I feel like, is there more focus on the world and what's going on and other people than like our two main characters?
It's less pinhole focused, I think. I think you're really focusing in book one on like the main two, because they're just so forced proximity. But the second book really like opens up the cast a bit more and a bit more of the world, and you're less focusing on just how are these two gonna work together. So I don't think we saw, as Kadan is an interesting female main character to be in the head of, because she really leans into just anger and upset there's less of the levity, and so it is just like also just like kind of a heavy book. But yeah, I don't dislike the characters. I just feel like sometimes I needed some characters to be a levity, but there just aren't any. Okay. There aren't really any of those, and I don't feel like I could connect to her on many fronts. So I was more just having to appreciate, I guess, what she was representing, but I couldn't really fully go, I would totally react the same way, because pretty much nothing she does I would ever go like, that's the natural inclination, you know.
I assume there's not like a humorous side character in this either.
No, not really. No.
And like I love those in a fantasy series.
There's a gentle side character, someone who does bring some gentleness, but who like goes, there's good in this world. But other than that, there's not really like anyone funny. But yeah, we did get a little bit more. She like tried her hand in some, like, not full on spice, but like some, I wouldn't call it closed door, it's not fully explicit, I don't know what that grey area, you know, when they like allude to but don't. So like there was some of that between some characters, not necessarily the two main ones, but I think it was a really solid next book. So I rated it like, I think 4.25. So it's
that's like, decent though.
I think it's like, I really rate this series. I think she's going a long way.
Did you rate Immortal Dark 5 stars or like 4.75? Yeah.
So I don't think any of them have been like perfect, but I think any series that's consistently staying above that 4-star, I'm like, this is a good series.
For a debut, also Aussie author, so amazing.
Yeah. And just there's so much culture, and there's so much just like, there's so much in it that I'm like, vampires are just so different in this world than anything I've read about vampires before, that I'm like, give me new stuff. I love all these new, like,
I feel like you're very, like, the type of setting that this series is, you immerse very quickly. Like, I feel like you love that.
Yeah. I feel like I would just like merge an osmosis into these books, which I don't know what that says about me, but yeah.
So I'm guessing you highly recommend.
I do. I really recommend this series. Really recommend it.
Great. That's great.
I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, I think. So we've got one more installment to go.
We're going into not a dark book over this side, but my
need some sunshine.
Second highest rated book was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young.
This was a sneaky one. This was one that I don't feel like I know much about your thoughts at all.
Yeah, I feel like I read this in like a couple of days. So this is like the interconnected. It's not even like, you can actually read book 2 without reading Out on a Limb by her, which is like her most renowned book, I suppose.
Yeah.
The Out of the Woods is following the best friends Sarah and Caleb that you meet in Out on a Limb. So if you want to kind of know them as characters, like before you go into this story and like how precious they are to our characters in Out on a Limb, 100% recommend read that first. Also, you get little cameos of Bo and Win in Out of the Woods. So I feel like to appreciate that, you do need to actually have read Out on a Limb. So, but I think as a romance book in it, so not even romance. So they've been married. They're high school sweethearts, Sarah and Caleb. They've been married for a very, very long time. And they kind of reached that point in their marriage where they're not like, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Because they're childless by choice, aren't they?
Yes. They don't want to have kids, but they're kind of like sort of getting to the point where they're resenting each other for certain things that they may have not like changed or haven't brought up in conversation. So, you know, when you're with someone for so long and these things do pop up, you do kind of need to communicate with each other about them to work through them, because they do come up in every relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got to the point where I think our two, like Sarah and Caleb, are just so different. Like, he's very much I will do whatever I need so you know that like you're taken care of, and you know, like he's showing his worth to the relationship by doing all these things for her, whereas she's more like, I feel like I need to do this for myself, for my self-esteem. And so like he kind of like, there's a situation where he kind of is the hero and kind of like comes in and like not saves her, but like there's something that she's trying to do for herself, and he essentially like fixes it for her, and it like triggers this like breakdown in their marriage, I suppose. Like, she feels like she doesn't know who she is. She's not sure if she wants to stay in the marriage. So they end up they go away to this camp to kind of like rekindle their marriage. So you see them like at a little camp away somewhere, and there's like little moments of them having to do like therapy, or them like talking to other characters and just like rekindling their spark in their marriage, and just kind of like talking through their thoughts and feelings and like who they are as people, like recognizing why their behaviors, like why they're doing certain things. So like why he's such a hero and always has to be like the knight in shining armor that comes in and like saves her, and why she like has such low self-esteem to the point where she feels like she's not like achieving anything or doing it, bringing anything
to the
relationship. So it really was just such like a beautiful, like it's a very different like romance story that I've never really read like a marriage in turmoil, and they kind of like, it's not like a second chance romance, like they're still married, they're not divorced, they haven't separated or anything like that. Like you're just seeing them kind
I feel like it's very realistic,
rebuild their marriage. And I feel like Hannah Bonham Young does do like real realistic characters and real realistic stories. I feel like that's the heart and soul of her books. Minus People Watching, which I haven't read yet, which is
I don't know
completely
if I will
different.
read that, but that's
okay. So I highly, highly recommend reading Out on a Limb and reading Out in the Woods. I feel like I don't think you could necessarily dislike it, but I know it is a bit of a change up, because Out on a Limb we get a lot of humor, we get a lot of like banter between the characters, like they just mesh really well together as characters, whereas in this one you're seeing them kind of like
in conflict.
In conflict. So you get a bit of a different change. So I think kind of getting used to that storyline from her after having so much fun with Out on a Limb, I think it took a minute for me to be like, okay, this is still an enjoyable story, it's just completely different to what Out on a Limb was. So highly recommend. It was, I think I rated it a 4.5 star. It was so good.
Do you feel like you took anything from it, like lesson wise? Or was it kind of things you felt you already covered, like, or you know about, and this was just seeing it in action?
I guess anyone in a long-term relationship can probably like relate to how they got to that point. There wasn't particular things where I was like, okay, I can see myself in this character, or I can see myself in the other character. But I feel like the communication, despite them having conflict, was very healthy. So I really like that, because I hate when they're just like, I won't talk to you. Like there is a moment of them being like, when something happens, they kind of have a bit of a tiff and you don't speak for a little while. That's pretty normal in a relationship.
Cool
but
down.
Like I feel like when they come together and they're trying to like discuss who they are and like kind of understand each other, it's very healthy. So I really love that. It's really good.
Like almost like relearning each other again.
Or like trying to like be there for each other, but letting them be their own person in their own way. Like whereas so
especially if you've chosen not to have the traditional sort of timeline of kids and family, which often help people almost like guideline them into what then your relationship stages are going to look like. When you have to define those yourself, I feel like that would be quite difficult if the people around you are going through those motions, and then you're going, well, it's just us and for till death do us part kind of a thing. So it's like, what are we going to do? So I've got that. I think I've got that on my shelves. I'm really excited to read that, because I really liked them as side characters in Out of a Limb.
I feel like you see a lot of Sarah being a lot more like negative in this one, because there's so many things in her life where she's not been able to achieve, or she's not been able to independently do something for herself and like kind of like build up her self-worth, I suppose you could say. So I feel like you do get a lot of like, I guess you feel sad for her in a way, because you're just like, oh, I feel like you are trying, but you've just never kind of reached that.
And it's so much more, I guess, easy to read about people falling in love than people trying to work out when they're in love and there's problems, you know, like that's more of like a less fun story, I guess, but no less important. So I'm glad you really enjoyed that.
Really
I'm glad you read it.
Yeah, very memorable romance read for this year.
Yes. And then I have a 5-star read, everybody. I have a 5-star read, and it is Play Along by Liz Tomforty. This book,
I feel like I haven't heard you talk about this.
This book is everything to me, and I want it branded onto my face.
I'm 2 books behind. Don't say too much.
I will not spoil anything, but this book is what I thought was going to be a little bit corny or a little bit silly, which was a accidental marriage. They wake up after a night in Las Vegas, which you know about in the prior books. The way they wake up
sounds like The Hangover.
A little bit, except there's not people missing and teeth missing. There's a ring on your finger. So they wake up after, because he is a baseball player and she is the team physiotherapist, and or doctor. She's actually a doctor. She's working in this space.
I love it.
And the dynamic between the two, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, because in some of the prior books, I thought their dynamic, I was like, he seems like he's being too playboy goofy. I don't think I like this.
Cough, caught up, cough.
I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to vibe with this. But there is literally nothing I can fault about this book. Like, I had the best time.
Wow.
I was taking my time with it. I annotated the hell out of it. I think this is the first one that I really, or maybe I did do the right move.
Did you start audiobook and then went to physically?
I did a bit of both the whole way through, because I think I was like colouring or building a book nook or doing something while I was listening to it, and I can vividly remember always like pausing it to then go and write notes in the book, because I was like, you
don't really annotate either, so that's big for you.
I loved it, and I don't think this book was necessarily doing anything like, when I say groundbreaking, I just think it did everything right. There was nothing where I went like, this is really cheesy.
But it also wasn't like they weren't too perfect to characters to be like.
That's the thing I liked about it, where I think they really did this dynamic of like, I believed that they were like best friends first, working through this situation second, and I loved how neither of the characters were too extreme in their, you know how usually they're like a stereotype of some kind. I don't think either of them were like pushing too heavily into their stereotypes. They just felt very measured, and the way that they were together, I was just like, oh my god, this man is so pathetically in love with her, and the way that she just was trying to like figure out how she could do it in a confident way and like actually approach this, and whether she even wanted to. It was just, I loved everything about it. This man is just so divine, and I think we see so much vulnerability in this one from our male main character, which we get across the board. I think Liz Tom Forty does write vulnerable men very well.
Yeah, she does.
But I think this one had a really heartbreaking scene of where you're just going like, oh my god, it's just nice seeing men be open.
Crying to like, but I've seen a couple of.
I sobbed in.
Oh my god, you're getting glassy eyes right now.
There were two scenes that got me. One was not romantic, and the other one was. But oh my god, there is just something she's created with this series, which I think beyond. Minus, you know what? The more I look back on it, the more I can think if I read it in a different order. And it was shorter. I'm not going to take away from the fact that book is ridiculously too long, and I don't think they're my favorite couple. They will be my least favorite couple, I think. I can kind of appreciate their role in the ecosystem, and I have seen people who've read it in different orders quite like Mile High after they know the everything, because they established everything like when I look back on it. So I don't love it, but I don't think I hate it. I hated it while I was reading it, but I don't think I hated it. I don't hate it as bad. We're talking about the first book. Upon reflection. But yeah, this book was just the best. I don't reread, but I think I have multiple times just thought, maybe I'll just start listening to that again. Like, I think
I need to catch up. So I know
you're on caught up. You need to get
caught up, and then I'll go to play along. But that is on my TBR this month.
And I think caught up and play along, because they're brothers. I just those two together and back to back just work so well, because I feel like you're just staying with a lot of the characters that you're with in the other books. So yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this book.
And 5-star romance, that doesn't happen for you very often. Like, you have a lot of 4.75 star romances, but I feel like 5-star romances, like normally there's something like
where I'm like,
I feel like it's normally the characters are too perfect that you're just like, this is not realistic, but I love you so much because I love all these like
or it's like there's a really corny part, or it's just so over exaggerated,
or the third act
is so where you're going anyway. But this one, I think this series is so far above like the Chestnut Spring series for me. I just okay, I think in my mind I just
holy heck
like Chestnut Spring, I think this is a tangent now, but I feel like they are like a fun, spicy like I don't even know how to explain it. It's a fun time, but I feel like I feel so much more when I read the Windy City series.
I feel like when you think of the Windy City series though, they're like realistic.
They feel like real characters.
People. Yeah, they feel like you could like be with these people, whereas like Chestnut Springs, I'm like, really, we're never gonna.
It's all very cheesy. It's all very like idyllic and all that
it's very
sort of
movie like. You know,
it feels like Hallmark versus I feel like a like TV series on CW or something, like a Gossip Girl. Like I don't know, there's something more grounded in reality, which Gossip Girl was probably a terrible example, but it just feels more real than your Hallmarky cheesy kind of books. So yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that because I've read both series this year, and this one's just surpassing it so quickly. Like every book is just so good. So yeah, that was a 5-star book for me, guys.
Speaking of Chestnut Springs,
my
top book was Reckless.
Who are we? We said we were like, we're fantasy girlies through and through.
Yeah, literally. But I just absolutely ate up every single second in this book, and
I'm so happy for you.
I don't know if it was just like one of those like right book right time moments as well. Like I have really enjoyed most of the books in the Chestnut Springs series. I don't think I've really rated them lower than I don't even know what I rated Flawless, and that is my least favorite. probably like a 3.75. Like I still really much like very much enjoy the characters.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're easy bingeable reads that no matter who you are, I feel like you can get some sort of enjoyment out of it. Like it's pretty adaptable for so many different
They're not
readers.
offensive. They're not boring.
No.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually think Theo would be my favourite.
It surprised me that he was your favourite. I'll be very honest. I didn't think you were going to dislike it, but I really didn't expect you to like it as much as you did.
Yeah, I feel like he is one of those guys that it's like he's almost too perfect. Like the way that he's super,
like Ryan Shea.
The way he's like super self-reflective and he's able to kind of like change his, like if he's had some conflict with the female main character in the story and he has to change his behavior, like he will actually do it and won't. Like
he's like a female therapist in a male skin. You know what I mean? Where you're going like, where it's like you are too good. Like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like almost too good to be real.
Yeah,
ever.
I'm like, would an actual male in society do that? Like, would you actually put aside these thoughts and feelings or put
constantly, like almost to self-sacrificing levels?
And it's also like unhealthy too, to the point where he's like, okay, you still kind of need to have your own thoughts and values where you're like, okay, there's moments.
Like stand up for yourself sometimes, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. But I feel like I just loved,
you're like, I don't care, he's hot.
But I also loved our female main character. I really enjoyed her in this story as well. I feel like she was one that would just like not kind of hold on to anything. She wasn't meant to be like super witty or fun or flirty or whatever like the other female main characters are in the story. I feel like she was very realistic, I feel. For all the female main characters I've read in this story, I feel like she was very much like super realistic. And obviously I feel like is that a spoiler? I feel like everyone's read this. Accidental pregnancy.
It has a picture of child's boots on the front. Okay. So I'm pretty sure it's not a spoiler.
But I had no idea this was accidental pregnancy.
There's an adult pair of boots and baby boots next to it.
I just saw the colour pink and was like, I'll pick it. I didn't look at the cover too in detail. And I feel like I kind of know I'm going into like a small town cowboy romance and I'm like, do I really need to read the blurb to kind of know the ins and outs of the series?
Well, then it was a fun surprise for you.
Yeah, so it was literally a surprise for me and a surprise for the female main character. But I wasn't expecting us to get the time jump of them not like kind of being in the pregnancy together. That
happens within like the first chapter. So.
So
I didn't like that.
And I'm like the last person to read this series.
I didn't like the way, that was something that I actually docked a bit of my enjoyment from because it felt like he was constantly having to play catch up through no fault of his own. And I didn't like that we were robbed of, and I mean, I guess it's just a different way of exploring the pregnancy trope where it's they're either going through it together or she's decided for one reason or another not to tell him. And
I think the way they went about him not like finding out, like not like not being in the kid's life. I didn't enjoy that side of it. But I definitely even when he like kind of come back into the picture and we do get to the the spot where they're catching up, like obviously he missed the pregnancy or whatever. My
heart broke for him. I just felt like
I feel like he should have been more angry or like kind of like
this
not
is
angry.
Where he was too polished and perfect.
I feel like not angry at her, but just like angry at the situation, I think. And he was just kind of super understanding and he would like put his thoughts and feelings aside on that to be there.
Talk about people pleaser.
Yeah, definitely. So I just loved it though. I just loved them. I feel like I could see them so well together as a dynamic, like despite kind of what we learn and what they go through at the start. I feel like they were just super realistic characters. But he was kind of like too polished, like you said. But
I'm glad you loved it.
Rated a 4.75. It wasn't like a 5-star for me.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely love it. Highly recommend this series.
He was my least favourite spicy wise though, personally. I don't know if you've taken note of like each person's kind of like kinks and like what they're like in the bedroom. He was probably my least favourite.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember Rhett. Rhett was like a year and a half ago.
I mean, the gym bit kind of was a bit.
Yeah, there was a few just bits where
questionable locations, I think, is probably like. Yeah. I feel like I loved Kate. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm going to say something because I feel like I love spicy scenes, but I feel like with some of these like spicy romance series, we get spicy scenes between them, but then we start to get like derogatory scenes where they're kind of like...
It's a certain type of like spice where if you like that talk, then it's going to be for you. But if you just are a bit more vanilla or that's not how you guys are in the bedroom, some of them really love this whole sort of like...
Kind of like...
it's not
dominating.
Yeah, she loves a dominating man.
Yeah.
And they're all that case. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember them all, but I'm pretty sure nearly all of them.
We
have
love
that.
giving
Jasper
men.
wasn't really.
We love like very giving men, but I don't love like the whole like dominate me man type of person. Like I think
for me it's more like the language, like it's kind of the name calling and stuff, which for some people that's gonna froth them and like that's totally your bag, then I love that for you. But for me it makes me kind of like go, well, okay, that's a lot in like the first interaction.
Well, I feel like I find that the dominating side kind of comes with those names as well, or like not degrading, but again I just feel like I want it to be like a beautiful experience between the characters. At least
their first time, you know. Like I feel like we kind of jump straight into assuming that that's the type of sex the other person wants a little bit sometimes, but anyway.
But I think in this one though we didn't learn about when I really appreciate actually towards the end of the book is when we have the moment of them having their spicy little moment where she falls pregnant. We didn't actually get the ins and outs of that at the start of the book, but we learned that like towards the end where she's like reflecting on that time that together. Night, so I really liked how we didn't just start out and we were like full spice. It was kind of a bit of closed door at the start. It was like that's initiating that this happened, but it wasn't actually like super descriptive.
Yeah, that's true.
So I did like that. So I feel like we did get less of that. But I don't know if I have a ranking for the men and their spicy time. I don't really remember rants.
But that's for another day.
But some of the things Cade said, I was kind of just like...
I feel like Cade and Theo come to mind as I'm like going, chill out for a sec. Like just, sometimes, like it's a lot every single time. Like sometimes you just want to have some like chilled out time, you know? I feel
like...
I don't know what words get flagged on these platforms.
I feel like Theo had more chilled out, like trying to just appreciate moments with them than Cade did. Like I feel like Cade was very physical, like all the time. And I mean, I get that, hot nanny, but but it would never really let up. No, whereas I feel like Theo was there for other reasons, not just.
I think Brett was very similar to Cade, to be fair. I feel like they had similarities, but
anyway, I don't really recall much of Jasper's anyway. So
I do. I remember I had full conversations with people because we were like, oh my god, we haven't seen some of these things represented in romance books. Like delayed gratification.
Oh, that's our last book. Oh my god, I completely forgot.
Delayed gratification?
No, sorry. Our favourite book. I'm like, we don't have any more to talk about.
Excuse me? Yeah, the only one that we both read, but we are going to be saving is we both read and finished Alchemized in that period
Demolished,
of time.
Finished, it finished us.
That was one hell of a long book. And so we are going to do a whole separate bonus episode for that because that's a chonker and I feel like that is not...
There's a lot to talk about too, I feel.
That's a deep dive kind of book for sure. And so we're going to just say that we read it and we're going to, if you want to know our thoughts, feelings, ratings, deep dive into like everything that goes on in between those 1024 pages, we will have that uploaded in the next coming
not
weeks.
Everything. God, we'd need like a 4-hour episode.
We could run a whole lecture on that. This will just be more of like what we took from it and what we appreciated it and yada yada yada. You get the drill. But this is kind of what we're talking about when we say if there's a book we really want to go in on. This is kind of like our version of what we're going to call book club, I guess. Like it's a book that we both have heaps of thoughts on. We both read it.
Yes.
We want to talk about it and like get you guys excited about it too. I'm sure half of you have already read it. But so that's going to be coming to you in the next little bit too.
But I think that's the end of
this
week's episode.
Episode 1.
Yeah, wow.
Crazy, guys.
Yeah.
So
I love that we got a bit of a catch up with each other as well as with you guys because we hadn't really talked about what we've been reading, so that was really fun.
I know.
And we should do this more often.
How about every fortnight?
Yeah. God, I don't think we'll have that many books, but
God no. We're so grateful if you are returning with us in season 2, and we are so excited with some of the fun things that we have planned and the episodes that we are already just like cooking up in the kitchen. We're very excited. But
please like, comment, subscribe. Oh my God, I can't believe we can
say
that
the
now.
word subscribe now.
Please to our channel because this all happens because of you guys, and we want to continue giving you such great videos, and we know we have so many great listeners out there that hopefully are now watching us as well. And we do really, really appreciate it. And obviously we'll link all our Bookstagram and all that down below if we can as well.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.